Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. So we've had about 2 weeks to reflect upon and digest the second closed beta from the finals. And while it's definitely been sad not having one of my favorite new games to play, I got to thinking about some things that I'd like to share with you about my experience and feelings with the finals moving forward. So I put over 70 hours combined into these two betas, which is not as much as some of you, but probably more than most of you. So some of the things I want to discuss about the future of the game are what it does well, what I think can be improved, and will this game ultimately last and succeed? That's the big question, right? With innovative games releasing lately that flopped, to name a few, Blood Hunt, The Cycle, and if you can remember Hyperscape, the question is, can the finals from the start prove everyone wrong and become a mainstay modern FPS shooter? Okay, so let's get into what we want to talk about today, and let's start with the good that the finals does, of which there are many things. So, first of all, there's the movement, which feels fantastic, if I do say so myself. I think it needs a little bit of work to feel completely fluid, but that's undoubtedly something that Embark will be working on over the next coming weeks and months, until full release. The destruction. Having played both betas extensively, I can say that the destruction is wild. Better than Battlefields that I've played, better than BF1. You can argue better than BF3. I don't have a lot of time in that game, but compared to Battlefield 1, the destruction in this game is incredible. The unique objective in this game. So it's a cash-out system, which I think is very good for the most part, but could use a few tweaks, logical tweaks that I think Embark will implement as we near release. The class system, a simple but effective class system. You got your light, you got your medium, you got your heavy, and each one of them is totally unique, but it's 3 classes, so it's pretty easy. Good gunplay. They have an iron sight only approach in the finals, which I think is actually refreshing. You got games like Call of Duty, Warzone, where you get to put, 5-6 attachments on each of your guns. It just gets to be overkill unless you have the exact right build. This levels the playing field. You have iron sights only, except for the sniper, which comes with a standard, 8x sniper scope, and it's pretty nice. In the second closed beta, they added Quick Cash, which was a 3v3v3 pubs game, and that added a really nice, fun and hectic game mode for casual players, or you could use it as a warm-up for tournaments, which I did almost every time I played. They readjusted the rounds in a tournament to be 3 instead of 4, which I thought was a good change because tournaments went from taking about an hour, sometimes more, if you really went all the way through, and it brought that time down to about 40 minutes, which isn't too bad. If you get all the way through the finals and win, it ends up being, maximum usually 40 minutes. So for the second closed beta as well, they added new guns to each class. The good thing was that they added new guns. The bad thing, which we'll cover in the bad section, was that some of the new guns didn't feel quite as good as the old ones. But as far as the new ones they added, I think the MP5 in the light class was probably the best, for me at least. It offered better DPS at mid-range, and it was nice to use something besides the Mac 11 to be a viable light character. The class structure offers very, very different play styles. Light classes play entirely different than a heavy class. It seems obvious, but there are games where this is not the case. And the medium class tends to be a stabilizer, especially when it's being used in a healing capacity. Okay, so as with anything, there's the good and there's the bad. So we have to remember that the game just finished its second closed beta. Not even an open beta, a closed beta. So we've had an alpha and 2 betas. I didn't get to play the alpha, unfortunately. Didn't even know about the game at that point. But, take the bad section here with a grain of salt because we need to give Embark time to prepare a full release game, which will happen. But everything that's worth having takes time. So let's talk about the bad. And the biggest issue for me was performance. So you get low frames in a lot of situations. You get some movement drift, which if you've ever played PUBG would be akin to that. The game doesn't feel bad. It's certainly playable. It just doesn't run as well as most other shooters. So I streamed a lot of it here on YouTube, and it fluctuated. It went from like 60 to 90 frames for the most part. I have a decent PC. I get max frames on games like Apex, 144 frames on those kinds of games. But this game would go, like I said, somewhere between 60 and 90, and it's playable, but it doesn't feel great all the time. Another bad thing, and though this may be unpopular opinion, I think cloaking, invisibility, and one knife killing on the light class, in my opinion at least, should be nerfed or taken out of the game. Probably going to be nerfed, probably not going to be taken out of the game, but that's my opinion. I'd be very cool with it being gone. It was a big W when they nerfed the automated turret in the first closed beta, and you could really see a difference because in the second closed beta, most people weren't even running the turret and were instead running heals, which makes more sense in a game like this. It's real frustrating. Boy howdy, it's real frustrating, and in its current state seems pretty unfair to me when you're defending a point or in a gunfight, and out of nowhere you're just dead because you get knifed in the back. And it doesn't seem appropriate to me in a game as fast-paced as the finals. The next issue is gun balancing. It was great to see, as I mentioned, and test out the new weapons in the second closed beta. However, most of the new weapons that came in didn't really make sense because they had more recoil, did less damage, or were just worse than the guns that were already in the game. For example, in Ranked, I tended to main the heavy class, and I didn't even try to use the new Lewis gun in tournaments because I tried it out in the range, and compared to the M60, it just felt worse in every way. So I'm not going to use it if it feels this bad. I mean, what do you expect? So my next point of issue with the finals is how you accumulate points with the cash-out system. So another one of the top complaints, besides performance that I saw in some comments on Steam and on YouTube, is that it didn't really make sense once you had cashed out and were defending a cash-out, that even if you defended your point for 95% of the time, a Randy Randinger team could just come in, and if they got the jump on you, maybe you lose a guy early, and all of a sudden you're down a man, and then it's a 3v2, you lose the 3v2, you're out for 30 seconds, and you lose all the hard work you just put in, and it seems a bit unfair that it can happen that quickly. On the other hand, if you're the attacking team in that situation, it's fantastic. Maybe you were wiped earlier in the game, you respawn, you run at a team, you get the jump on them, and you get all their money. But it's a little bit unfair as a team who got the cash box, put it into the cash out vault, and then took the time to set up defenses. It's a little bit of a cheese situation, and I think an easy fix to that would just be, as a team who puts a cash box into a vault or into a cash out, the terms get a little bit confusing, a cash box into a cash out area, you should then start accumulating points, and it shouldn't just be a set amount that you get if you hold it the whole way through. I think you should be accumulating throughout the time that you hold the objective. Okay, so we're getting close to wrapping up here. Before we do so, if you found this video entertaining, informative, or you just like it, please drop a like and subscribe for the algorithm. It really helps, makes me aware and know that I'm doing the right thing, making decent videos, at least half decent videos, and I really appreciate that from you guys. So, as I mentioned in the opening, there have been many unique games that have released over the past couple years that, for one reason or another, never caught on or were popular for really only a few weeks or months before they eventually petered out and lost their entire player base. So, of course, we have to ask the question, is the finals doomed for this same fate? And here's why I say no. So, Embark Studios, though they're a new studio, they have experienced developers, and they know what they're doing. They've assembled a team who has had major AAA success in the past. They aren't rushing the release of the finals, though a part of me wants them to because I need a good new FPS right now. I need it right now. Ranked Apex is no good as of the time of this recording. It's bad. I need a new game. But that being said, don't rush anything, Embark. It's okay. So, also, the marketing of the finals has been good and intelligent. And based on reports from Nexon, their publisher, millions of people signed up for the betas. And of course, millions didn't get to play because server capacity wouldn't be able to handle those kinds of numbers. But it's a great sign, and that's a pretty big deal to get that many people interested in a game this different and this unique. So what Embark will need to do is be cognizant of mistakes developers such as Shark Mob made with Bloodhunt, whose marketing campaign was actually very good, but they were unable to correct game-breaking bugs within the game fast enough, and eventually the player base dwindled down from, at one point, I remember they used to have, thousands, if not tens of thousands of people playing that game to, at this point, just a couple hundred consistent players, which is very sad because the game is very fun, very unique, very high skill gap, but it's just sad to see a game like that kind of fail in the end. And what it comes down to is if Embark is able to stay abreast of game-breaking bugs and balancing issues, which, though inevitably pop up from time to time, once this game full releases, if they're able to stay on top of those, I think this game and this studio are in for a lot of success. Okay, so now on to my closing thoughts. Here we go. So the finals has the it factor. Not many games do these days. The combination of pure fun in a video game, solid ranked system, impressive innovation, and a team of devs who listen to the players and fans. I'll tell you what, it's pretty refreshing. So with games like Call of Duty Warzone, which I haven't played in months because I'd rather pinch my balls between two folding chairs, and of course I mentioned Apex, not in exactly the best state right now. We are in desperate need of a new competitive FPS shooter, and this could be it. It has the it factor. It's not present in a lot of games. I think back, Fortnite had it when it first came out with how innovative and fun it was, and games like PUBG rode the BR wave into fantastic success. But I can honestly say that in over 2 years, I haven't had as much fun playing a video game as I had in my first couple hours playing the finals. Every time I click on the finals page on Steam, looking for new information coming out, which of course isn't there, it's all in their Discord, but who cares? Every time I click on their page and the trailer plays with that little cha-ching at the beginning, I kind of get goosebumps. And so I think this game has an extremely bright future, but of course they can't forget the mistakes of past failures in games that went the same way. If that can be accomplished, we could be looking at one of the best shooters in quite a long time. So thank you very much for watching. I've been streaming quite a bit on YouTube lately, so if you've got time, stop by the stream sometime at I'm Frankie. I'd love to chat with any or all of you as face-to-face as we can get in a live setting. So, all right, Keers, thanks, and see you, Keers.